Yo, what's up YouTube? Dirty Dan Gaming coming back with another Rise of Kingdoms video. And today we're going to be diving into how to better obtain kill points. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to look to multiply the KP that you get in a KVK exponentially. There's many things that you can do to work on this, but there is only so much that working on your commanders and your gear is going to get you. There is some mechanics and some very nice tactics to use, such as rage hopping. So without further ado, let's jump into how to get you more KP. Okay, so first few portions of this are going to be pretty self-explanatory, but they need to be said nonetheless. I feel like some players might forget, or they think that some of these things don't have that big of an impact. So right off the bat, first, if you want better trades, guys, I'll tell you right now, you will get better trades with T5. Yes, you can mix your troops up. I have been doing that notoriously for my career in Rise of Kingdoms. I usually do mixed troop marches. I rarely will do full T5 marches, but I would be lying to you if I said that full T5 marches aren't going to get you higher KP than someone who's using mixed marches or someone who's using T4. It's just the numbers of the game. That's how they work out. Now, can you get better value out of mixing your troops with the speed up and resource mitigation? Probably, but we are here trying to explain and kind of dive into how do you get more kill points straight out, flat out. This is what you need to do to get more kill points. So T5 troops, obviously, yes, those are going to yield you more kill points in the field. Now, you always want to make sure of a few other things. If you go over here to your boost section, make sure when you are fighting, you always want to have one of these boosts going on. I prefer to go for these 10% because it's a stat game, and whoever has more stats is usually going to come out on top. So you always want to have one of these running. When you're in Season of Conquest, I would definitely suggest doing the defense token because you're getting so much stats from Crystal Tech alone. I think the defense token is fine. It'll help you in the field with a little bit of tankiness. It'll sustain and thus giving you more kill points for staying in the field longer. Now, if you are someone who is in KVK 1 through KVK 3, or you are not a T5 tech player yet, you can probably stop and think about using an attack boost item. Where would I use an attack boost item? Maybe on a march like Richard, who might need a little bit more attack. Richard Ethelfled, it's tanky enough. Let's give it a little bit more attack. If you are working on your tech and you have built up significant amount of defense and health for your troops, maybe you throw the attack item on there. In those early stages of the game, when you don't have T5 tech yet, more stats matter. So this comes to play even when with your equipment. Don't get stuck and caught up in the meta of defense and health. At the end of the day, whatever you can craft is whatever you can craft, and you want more stats outright. Those are going to benefit you much more so than trying to chase the defense and health stats that are super meta in Season of Conquest. More stats at the end of the day are going to be better. Staying on boosts. These are huge. Basic army expansions. I tend to go with these 50%. But now more so because I'm in Season of Conquest and I'm getting an increased troop capacities, I can use these a little bit more so I don't have to burn all of my 50%, which we like to save for our arc match practices and whatnot. But these are huge. You need more troops in the field are going to kind of act a little bit like a defense mechanism for you as well, where it's going to help you sustain not as many losses, but you're definitely going to see the return in your trades. Shout out to my buddy Turtle, where this is a long time ago. This is very, very early in the game, but he was like, yeah, how do I get better kill points, man? I was like, make sure you're using these expansions. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm always using an expansion. You got to think, for those who are, for simple numbers, if you're pre-Season of Conquest, you use one of these bad boys, you're bringing 250,000 troops to the field, 260,000 if you are VIP 14 and above. Use one of these bad boys, that's 310k, 300k, where those not VIP 14. Imagine hitting a march of someone who has like 115k troops left, as opposed to you only have 200k. The troop amounts matter, and that's why they gave people in VIP 18 an even further increased troop capacity, which brings them up to like 330k, or I think it's 230k, some crazy number. So Season of Conquest players, Max Tech players, those guys are getting upwards of 430k troops. If they're using a march like with Julius in it, it's a stupid amount of troops that they're bringing to the field. So you always want to make sure that you have all of your boosts running. And then also, kind of talking on stats, I don't think any of them have spawned here yet. Okay, yes. Make sure you're always using a rune, especially if you are a rally or garrison lead. This is a must. If you're not using a rune, then you're pretty much kind of wasting other people's money. So please keep that in mind for rally and garrison leads. But this is an open field guide, and we're talking about open field. So definitely utilize the runes, utilize all the stats that are going to be available to you, even if it comes to titles, whether that's general, whether that's justice or duke. If those are available to you in your kingdom, try to utilize those. Again, probably for open field, it's going to be kind of tricky to get your hands on one of those buffs. And as soon as you get into territory fights, those are going to be saved for rally and garrison leads. But if you can sneak one in there, you know, doesn't hurt. Next, you always want to make sure here, again, these are kind of simple things, but they need to be said, okay? Because I myself have made these mistakes. Make sure, first and foremost, that your talent trees are set. I remember walking around 1 KVK with a Minamoto, and my trades were horrible. And I'm like, why the heck are my trades not the way that I know that they should be? And I had his Barb Fort peacekeeping build on him. In that same token, I was walking around with a Charles Martel at one point with his garrison build, and your kill points are going to suffer from that, guys. Also, make sure, again, not really needed to be said, but please make sure you have your equipment on your commanders. And now with the new armament system, please make sure that you have some kind of armaments on there, even if they're just blue armaments. You can get some pretty good ones here. I don't have the good blue one on for my Attila, but you can get some pretty good stats out of them, even if it's just a blue armament. Now, I kind of ran through those a little quickly. This might be a little bit of a longer video, so buckle up, boys and girls. So what we're going to do now is kind of analyze some footage that I was able to edit from some of our ruins fights. I go through it a little bit quickly, so bear with me if you need to kind of pause or slow it down. Do what you need to do. I'm probably going to look to put out more guides like this and kind of break down a little bit more editing wise, but I did want to kind of get this out before some of the additional madness in our KVK started up. I've been sitting on this video for a few days now, so just really trying to get it out there. Hope you guys enjoy this next portion where we start to break down now some rage hopping, some positioning tips and tricks to help better your kill points. All right, and real quick before we kind of dive into the whole like rage hopping and kind of like techniques and all that stuff, here's a question from my man Minnie that actually popped up today. And yo, what is rage hopping? And I kind of sat for a second and I was like, how do I best explain this and like try and keep it simple? I get very wordy at times. So it's a little bit of time that you have to change targets while sustaining your rage bar. For example, you're targeting an enemy that's going back into their ball. Look for another enemy troop a few steps away that would bring you back into better positioning and switch targets. You'll start walking over to them, but notice that your rage bar will sustain. As long as you take that 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds at times, you can walk over to a new enemy and re-engage into combat. Well, you're technically not leaving combat, right? So you're still staying engaged the entire time, but you're re-engaging in that act of actually hitting him. That rage bar will stay up, and you can chain your skill cycles that way. This is going to drastically improve the kill point accumulation that your account is going to get. So here's a little like fighting montage I kind of put together. There's going to be times where it moves a little bit fast, and I do apologize. I'm going to try to break this down as clear and concise as I can. What we're really going to be focusing on today is going to be the rage hopping technique. However, in practicing your rage hopping, you are going to be working also on your positioning on the battlefield. Now, is rage hopping going to work for every situation in Rise of Kingdoms? No. Does it look extremely easy when we're doing these little spar fights before a ruins fight? Yes. Can you do rage hopping techniques in ruins fights effectively? Yes. Chizgul actually, he was, I guess you can call it rage hopping. He sustained and engaged in battle in this ruins fight that we're going to be going through. While he was streaming with the Trajan, and the Trajan stayed in combat like the entire time. It had to have been like a few minutes that Trajan was probably in combat. So very effective. You can see that Chisgul uses it. I'm sure other streamers use it too. All right, in situations where rage hopping probably won't be the best is going to be big murder balls. Not like this. This is ruins fight where ruins you can manage the hopping, right? Pretty much what you want to do is make sure if you see an enemy running out of position, you want to target onto that enemy and let them take you on a ride, and then you kind of just want to be able to bounce back and forth among enemies. Now, when you're in big pass opening situations, level 5 passes in Heroic Anthem, even in Strife for the 8, Kingsland pass openings, there's going to be a lot of lag. There's going to be a lot of bodies on the field, which probably isn't going to be able to optimize your rage hopping abilities. Now, what I like to do in those situations, internal clock. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, counting up to 10, because that's usually about the amount of seconds that it's going to take to fire off a skill. Fire off your skill and then retreat back, pull back enough so that you're not getting wrecked, and then re-enter the battle, start another fresh clock up to 10 seconds. That's really how you're going to optimize in those really massive opening fights, open field fighting, because again, there's so many bodies going on. Positioning is very, very much more important than when because your troops are always going to make this kind of U shape. So they're going to kind of U into the back line of the enemy. So that's really when you want to kind of keep that internal clock going. But let's kind of backtrack a little bit and we'll go through some of these clips to find some proper rage hop. So you can see here with my Nevsky, I'm now targeting this Boudica here. Okay. And keep an eye on my rage bar. You'll see a nice little maneuver that you do here. So we're targeting the Boudica. She's getting nuked down. You can see that health is dropping very quickly. So what I decide to do, and you can see that my marker here is primed. I'm ready to switch my targets. And again, you're not going to be able to do this in every situation, but it's still something that you can do as good practice and even as a warm-up. So I noticed that the Boudica is going to die. Now, I don't want her to fully die without me finding a new target to switch onto. So then I switch onto and I turn onto this Dark Shadow, and that's where I get a nice AoE crack on him. I'm going to then switch to Rhino because the Dark Shadow guy is going to be pulling me out of position. We're going to snipe Rhino as long as we can until he starts to walk away, and then we switch onto Nipple Bear. That's probably like the best example that I can give there of rage hopping, and then also using your enemy's position to better your position. If you see them starting to pull you back into their ball, you want to find a new target that's walking up, right? Walking up and towards your ball, right? Because you want to be surrounded by your mates. No one likes to get targeted. That is one of the main things that I've noticed too. When you just start targeting someone, most likely they're going to run away, right? And the best thing that you can do for that to know when you're getting targeted is just look out for the little icon over here. When that starts to flash red, that means that someone is sniping onto you. So we run this down and we get Nipple Bear. And then another little quick tip too that I can give you for when you're targeting, as soon as the cav march is below 50%, just let that guy go, especially with the march speed bonus that they are going to obtain from coming back onto Alliance territory. You're talking about 70% march speed. You're not going to catch that cavalry march. You're definitely gonna have a better chance of catching an archer or an infantry march. So as soon as those cav marches are below 50% and they're trying to run away from you, just find a new target, because you're most likely not going to catch them. So here's some of the trades that we got. So you can see that I hit the Dark Shadow guy 7,000 for 10,000. Not great there, but I would still take it. You could see he got more kill points off of me. But then we go down here on the Pakal. I didn't even know that there was a call out there, but here's a nice juicy one. 1.8 to 19.2, all T4. And this is what I mean too, guys, by making sure that you're utilizing your army expansions, because I guarantee you that if this Boudica had 300k troops in there, the fight would have been much more even. Although I'm getting free hits on them, this is pure counterattack damage. The Boudica wasn't targeting me, but I guarantee that the trade would have been a little bit better. It might not have stung so bad for this Boudica. And then you can see there latching onto Nipple Bear at the end for the infantry march. Here is a little bit of me getting greedy, right? So yes, you want to try and manage your rage hops appropriately to get some good kill points, but do not get greedy, my friends. So you can see here I'm locking onto an enemy. My rage bar is filling up nicely. I'm looking for another target to switch onto, which I then do. I turn, I go into this Guan Yu, but I'm way out of position. I'm here alone on an island where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 troops are 2 to 3 steps away from me, which is kind of what you that's the gap that you have for rage hopping. You have about 2 to 3, maybe 4 seconds of your troop walking before it disengages out of battle, and then you lose your rage bar entirely. So this is terrible positioning by me. I was trying to get a little bit too greedy, but you do notice that I kind of do the smart thing here by at least going onto Alliance territory to get away a little bit faster, as my man Ted Mosby snipes the resource node for me. Here's another thing too that's going to help your kill points, and I may have mentioned it before. Make sure if you see these low marches in the field, those are priority targets for you. Not only are your trades going to be really nice, but you're clearing the field of some of these really, stingy commanders that have good skills that you want to take off of the field, especially for the buffing, debuffing marches. A commander like Boudica, which is increasing skill damage, getting the Trajans off of the field, getting the support marches off of the field. So you can see here, we were targeting our friend Nipple Bear on the Guan Yu. He was pulling us too far, so we see this Nevsky here, and we want to stay in good position. So I switch off of the Guan Yu. I maintain my rage. In doing so, as soon as I turn and target a new enemy, I'm firing off a skill that's giving me some instant skill damage. But again, here you can see I get a little bit greedy where now I'm totally out of position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people around me, and all of my mates are up here where, if they were near me, then I probably would have, not gotten clapped like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skill cycles are hitting me right there. You can see a con skill cycle going off there. So definitely mind your positionings, guys. Okay, and here's a nice little tidbit too. It can show you kind of like again, more rage hopping techniques. So here we're chasing this poor little Artemisia down. And here's a quick tip too, guys. If you're trying to escape and there's no escaping and your enemy is getting free hits on you, just turn and fight them. These are all free hits. The only thing that's happening to them is the only thing that's happening to me is counterattack damage. There's no risk from skills. There's no normal attack damage. This is all purely just normal attack damage. If you know you're not going to get away, just suck it up and fight. They do get away a little bit, but that's because I wanted to, again, kind of optimize. I was shooting this knowing that I was going to make this video. So you can see this Guifire guy coming up. You can see I walk away 1, 2, 3, 4. I get a good amount of steps in there and before I end up hitting him. So that gives you an idea of just how far you can kind of move when you have your rage bar still kind of sustaining. Again, we fought on Ruins the first time and the lag was hitting us decently, and I couldn't rage hop for shit. So just keep that in mind. Here we go, firing off skills. We're still sticking to this Guifire, but they're kind of sticking to me a little bit. So here, that's a little tactic I like to use too, is just click on your troop and tell them to recall home. You're gonna get the 20% march speed bonus if you're on Alliance territory, but just from recalling your troop doesn't mean that you're going to lose your rage bar. So you can see here I'm walking away, and then I turn and I come back to re-engage into combat. My rage bar sustains and I'm able to fire off a skill as soon as I turn back. That's really nice when you're getting targeted because you can walk away. As soon as you start walking away, people are probably going to try and find another target because people are trying to rage hop as well. So you start walking away, they disengage onto you, and then you can kind of turn around and crack them right back when they think that you're going to run. So here again, you can see that it's weird too. Sometimes the rage sustain is so much longer than I think it's going to be, and other times it cuts out really quickly. So it does vary, but I would like to say rule of thumb is probably 2 to 3 seconds. And here again, Mr. and Mrs. Senna, the poor Artemisia, just turn and fight at that point. And then here's just like a little bit of like madness going on in the Ruins fights. So again, you want to make sure that you're trying to find enemy marches that are coming out of position. like this Guan Yu right here. He's running out of position. You want to take, if those guys are running up and they're lagging out and they're taking you for a ride back up to into your area where a lot of your mates are, that's what you want to do. Find a target, lock onto them, let them kind of bring you into their ball a little bit, then look for another target and switch off and take the free ride up into safe territory, so you're pretty much getting free hits. And with that, guys, I think that's pretty much all I got for you. I'll leave you on this little clip here of there goes my man Yerp. Had a great time with him on the Dirty Gang Saturdays. And then here we're fighting Chiz. So just gonna leave you on this as we kind of close it out. So please, so we'll kind of just leave it here as we close it out. If you guys have any other suggestions to help our fellow Rise of Kingdoms players, leave a comment down below. If I missed anything, if there's anything that you think maybe I should adjust in my wording or anything like that, please, I'm all for open criticism, open critiques on anything on the video. Just want to put out some stuff to help players have a visual of some things that they can do in Rise of Kingdoms, because again, there's only so much that your gear and your tech and your equipment is going to get you if you're not using some of the mechanics that Lilith is providing for you when it comes to sustaining your rage and doing something like rage hopping, focusing on your positioning, making sure that you're not getting wrecked on the trades when you're in the field. Make sure that you're using all the tools available to you, whether that's attack boost, defense boost, runes, titles, war frenzy. Make sure you're doing all that stuff, making sure you're checking all those boxes before you're heading into the battle. I hope this helped, guys. Again, drop a comment down below if I missed anything. If you have anything to add, let's help out our fellow Rise of Kingdoms players. Let's make this community more and more competitive so we can just kind of flourish together. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for the support. I'm out. Take care. Have a good one. Peace.